Is it important to love or be loved?
Oh, we're starting with the heavy ones. Is it important to love or be loved? I am a lover girl and I love love. So I think it's, first of all, very important to love. And sometimes there's this quote that says, you haven't really experienced life if you haven't experienced love. And I believe that it actually stems from you reaching out and loving someone. That is when you can get it back. So the first step is always for you to make the first step. So I think it's important to love. And if you love, the laws of the universe, whatever you put in is what you get back. So if you love and how you love, that is exactly how you'll get it back.
Don't you give in, get up, push on.
To give in to the pressure, gotta stay strong. Every setback is a lesson, that's where I belong. Push through the pain, turn struggle into song. Every challenge overcome, another chance prolong. Get up, brush off the dirt and carry on, Tom. In this life of chaos, find peace in this storm. You was born to fight through the dust till the dawn. No surrender, no retreat till your purpose is drawn. Yes, this life is a struggle, we all stuck in denial. Ignoring the essentials, focusing on material. Forgetting the supernatural. Taking things from their hands, no wonder they all fall. I know, this life ain't easy, I know. It can get crazy, I know, and turn out messy, I know. Just take it easy, cause you're born to endure. You'll win this for sure, for the scar we will cure. This testament is pure.
You ready?
Yeah.
Hello, wonderful humans. Welcome to Modern Day Campfire by your host, Martin Sambia, where we advocate for mental health and personal growth through visual arts and very, very interesting talks. And today we have a very magnificent guest with us. She goes by the name June Linda. And without further ado, I'll just give her an opportunity to reintroduce herself. Welcome again, June Linda.
Thank you.
And maybe you can tell us, like, what are you into currently?
Interesting. Hi everyone. My name is Linda June Adhiambo. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Martin, for having me. So I'm currently in my final year, last semester of pursuing of biomedical engineering here at KU. And apart from that, I am also a co-founder and the CEO at Classify Me, which is a startup that uses tech and specifically AI and machine learning to help students who are transitioning from high school to university make better informed decisions about the courses they want to pursue that will eventually decide or rather determine the careers that they pursue in life. Yeah. Apart from that, I'm also a sister and a friend. Yeah.
That is well put. And out of curiosity, like, where is this now? The idea of Classify,
Yeah.
where is it stemming from? Like,
All right. So last year, or was it 2 years back, I was part of a mentorship program called Kamilimu, which is basically an 8-month program where you go as a tech-oriented student, and then the main aim is to reinforce the importance of human skills. People call them soft skills. Having both the soft skills and the technical skills. So most techies and engineers, people say they don't know how to like communicate. They could be like very brilliant, but they don't know how to communicate that and intercept with other humans. So that is the core principle of Kamilimu, that in as much as you're good in your tech skills, you should also be able to communicate your science. And so in so doing, the mentorship helps you in career readiness in tech. And some of the skills we learn are innovation, public speaking, the likes. So Classify Me basically stemmed from the innovation competitions at Kamilimu. We were put in groups, and at the time I was pursuing data science as one of their tracks. So I was paired with 3 other students in the data science track. And so we were tasked with coming up after being taught about human-centered thinking, human-centered design thinking. So we were tasked with coming up with a solution that could solve a problem, and that is where Classify Me stemmed
That's right.
from. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for that. And like, are you active in any social media platform? Yes.
As Classify Me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we actually have both Twitter and Instagram handles.
Mhm.
Not very active, but
Okay.
we are working on that.
On
Yeah.
that,
But
okay.
if you want to like check it out, you can look us up on Instagram or Twitter. And we also have our website up and running, classifyme.co.ke.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That is well put. So guys, I hope now you are ready. You're ready. Yeah, you're ready. You have a ready, interesting story. Yeah. So we just want to see your perspective on life,
Thank you.
fully dependent on these questions and how you view life. Yeah, and also maybe to get to know you more.
All right.
Okay. So the first question is, how are you feeling right now?
How am I feeling right now?
Yes.
I am excited. This is my first live interview and recorded, and I was just telling you it's weird listening to my own voice. But I'm excited to see and curious mostly to see how it turns out. Yeah, I have an open mind, so I'm looking forward to seeing how everything comes together.
Okay, and
Yeah.
also to test my
Oh
smoothie.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mhm. How is it?
It's amazing. I
Yeah.
can taste bananas,
Mhm.
a little bit of the peanuts, and some milk,
And
right?
some milk,
Yeah.
yeah, people do get those two right. Anything past there, no one gets it right, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe it will come to me.
Yeah, with time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, another question.
Yeah.
Is it important to love or be loved?
Oh, we're starting with the heavy ones. Is it important to love or be loved? I am a lover girl and I love love. So I think it's, first of all, very important to love. And sometimes there's this quote that says, you haven't really experienced life if you haven't experienced love. And I believe that it actually stems from you reaching out and loving someone. That is when you can get it back. So the first step is always for you to make the first step. So I think it's important to love. And if you love, the laws of the universe, whatever you put in is what you get
Get
back. So if you love and how you love, that is exactly how you'll get it back. Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes even better.
Yeah, that is well put.
Thank you.
And very insightful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, as within as without. Okay. Yeah, that is dope.
Yeah.
So you prefer to love first,
Yeah. I
then
actually do.
then universe will reciprocate. Okay. Yeah, that is well put. Thank you
Thank
for that.
you.
Yeah. What does it mean to live a good life?
A good life is subjective, right?
Mhm.
Because what could be a good life for me might not necessarily mean a good life for you. So I think for you to know, or rather to determine what it means to live a good life, you really have to be self-aware at first. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you love doing, what you like doing, your weaknesses and your strengths, what keeps you going, what fills your cup. People like to say that a lot, but it's actually very true. Like, it goes more beyond just knowing I am introverted and I like chapatis. It's actually sitting with yourself and getting to know yourself. That is when you can know what is really important to you and what matters to you, and how that will determine a good life for you. For me, a good life is a fulfilling life. I know that's still abstract,
Yeah.
but I just said I am a lover girl. So for me to have a good life, there has to be love in it. It doesn't matter which kind, but familiar love is definitely very important. That is why I am very
Familiar love.
familiar love.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Like love from your family.
From your
Yeah,
family.
and sometimes it is a privilege that not everybody gets to experience, and it is important to know that. But having someone that, you see, a family, you're literally born into a family, so it's like what the tool that the universe gives you to do life with. and they're there to witness your life since from when you are just a toddler up to when you grow up, and that bond really means a lot to me. And I strive to like keep it going. And being the firstborn in a family of 4, I try by making sure I have an idea of what's happening in all my siblings' lives, and they know they can always reach out to me. My mom and I are also pretty close. So sometimes, even at the end of the day, when you feel like I literally have nothing to live for anymore, it's just enough to call them and talk to them. Yeah. So a good life has to have love. What else? I feel like love is what keeps the world going.
Yeah.
So without it, there's really not much. Yeah. So it has to have love. Number 2, it has to have purpose. And purpose may take a while to like realize that this is my purpose, this is why I'm alive. But the moment you find it, it makes life worth much more, and you kind of almost always look forward to every day. And when you find your purpose and it is something that you're actually doing, you'll do it even when it feels like the whole world is on your shoulder. You know, love doing it every day,
Yeah.
and you will not enjoy doing it every day, and that's naive to think that. But at the end of the day, it gives you that fulfillment, and you'll do it anyway. Yeah. So I feel like with love and purpose, I'm gonna be materialistic and say money too,
Okay, yeah. Okay.
because money is also important.
Yeah.
And I'm using money in this case to mean comfort, for you to have a good life and to actually think about now finding your purpose and being intentional about loving other people and creating connections. You have to have a comfortable life. Yeah. It's not the first thing you'll think about if you don't have, say, 20 bob for mandazi in the morning. You'll start thinking about how you're going to get money and get those things that make you comfortable. So once you're comfortable, it's easier for you to actually take time with yourself and grow through it.
Yeah, that is well put. And from what I'm getting from you, let me just assume you're very self-aware. You are very self-aware, and I can say that confidently.
Yeah.
And I feel like you might be the right person to ask this question. Do you think is self-love what is your argument on this? When someone says like self-love is a selfish act, what is your take on that?
Self-love is a selfish act.
Or is self-love a selfish act?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
It is.
But it is necessary.
Mhm.
When you woke up in the morning today, did you wake up thinking about your next door neighbor? Did you wake up thinking about me, for instance? No. I mean, even your parents or whoever it is, your boyfriend or whoever, they don't wake up thinking about someone else other than themselves. So if you don't really take it upon yourself to actually think about yourself and look more inward, it's not going to come as second nature to anyone else but you. So you have to think about yourself first, and therefore you have to love yourself first. They say you can't pour from an empty cup, and I'm a big believer of that. So
Same here.
if you don't realize who you are and say your purpose in this life, it's even hard for you to go through life, because then to love, for example, because you don't know how to love yourself, you didn't really understand what that love would mean for someone else, then it's even hard for you to integrate with other people in that manner. So you have to love yourself, and you have to be selfish with that and get to know yourself so that you can become a better lover for other people.
Yeah. And what I came to understand is that as time goes by, today the person who I would say who I'm capable to fall in love with, if maybe I keep on growing as an individual, it won't be the same person with consistency, the person that I'll be capable to experience love with the next 2 years. So the more you learn to love yourself in the right way, the more you give yourself a chance to love the best part, the better version of you. And as time goes by, you get to meet the best perfect match for you.
That is true, because growth in itself it doesn't shoot. It is also exponential, so it takes time, and even to become self-aware. I don't feel like I am that self-aware. I
Yeah,
feel like
maybe.
it's one long journey,
Yeah, it
but
is.
the moment you start discovering things about yourself, it's just like there's no stopping you, and you just want to keep going. It's like,
Yeah.
so I am this kind of person.
Uh-huh.
So let's see what happens when I'm put in such a situation. How do I react? Then what does that tell me about myself? So when you are more self-aware, it even helps you prevent being in situations that could quote unquote disturb your mental health, because you understand situations better and you understand how you react better. So somebody can't come and start making you feel less important or think less of yourself, because you already know who you are. So there is me, I am ABCD, and I am 100%. And when you come into my life as a friend or as whoever, you are bringing 100%, and this have to meet. And it's no longer about you completing me, or I cannot be without you, or I cannot do without you. So then it becomes more fulfilling, really, and it doesn't stem from codependency or something like that. Yeah.
And I have another question. Like, yeah, fully based on self-awareness.
Okay.
Yeah, like, yeah, it is getting interesting, and I just love it because I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what does it take? What does it take for someone to be self-aware? Because personally, what I know like maybe there are two things. Maybe one is just to understand that we make our own rules. So
Yeah.
I'll be competing with myself. At the moment you do that, I feel like the comparison aspect, it is what make us feel like lesser beings.
Yeah.
But at the moment I compare myself with who I am, I will always be comparing with what I was yesterday, what I am today, and what I will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it will be easy for me as a person to see the growth and appreciating it.
Yeah.
And appreciating it is what now bring gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude, yeah.
It's
And
true.
that is what I will consider as maybe a journey for self-awareness.
Yeah.
So for you, like now, what are your tips?
All
Yeah.
right. So I think that's a very nice way to look at it. More about competition, like with yourself and with who you were yesterday. And I think that summarizes it or puts it together in a very tidy way. Because I feel like for me, for you to be self-aware, you first of all have to realize that you are not, right?
You're not, yeah.
Yeah, you have to realize, oh my
That-
God, I really don't know
Can I
myself.
interrupt you, kidogo?
Sure.
Yeah. There was this thing, like I read somewhere, they were saying that 10% of knowledge
Yeah.
increases 90% of ignorance.
Mm.
So the more you know,
Yeah.
the lesser you know. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
maybe today we are in this place. I know all the places about this place.
Yeah.
By just knowing that, you'll notice like there is life beyond this place. Now
Yeah.
we'll be talking about Nairobi. At the moment you know everything about Nairobi,
Yeah.
now we'll be thinking of Kenya,
Yeah.
Africa, now
It's
the world.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it
yeah.
kind of like provides a basis for you as well. So first of all, you have to acknowledge that I don't know what I'm doing, and I think like I really need to know who I am. Like you have to have that desire. And then from there, you can now start working intentionally on getting to know yourself. And for me, that includes spending time with yourself, which is sometimes hard for me because I love people and I love having connections. So it goes without saying that I always love to have people around me. So sometimes when it's about spending time with myself, it feels lonely. Like being alone feels lonely, which it shouldn't really be. So you have to actively work towards like just spending time with yourself. It can help you notice one or two things about you, like what you like doing, what you're most comfortable falling back to when there's a crisis. And number two, also reading. See these self-help books.
Yeah.
I like to read them because they show you a lot of perspective about, you could think like personality is all just about introversion and extroversion until you go read about personalities and you realize that there's a lot more to it than just introversion and extroversion. Then with that knowledge, your brain or rather your mind is now opened and you actively seek to know who you are, right? And then I think something else is also just listening to what people around you tell you. Yeah, because sometimes there are traits that we do have and we embody that we really don't realize we do. and people keep telling you you're actually a very, okay, I won't say nice because
Mhm.
nice is too blanket,
Yeah.
but they could be telling you you're actually really good at this.
Mhm.
Like you really like cleaning, and it's something you don't personally realize,
Mhm.
but then they keep telling you, and now when you do an introspection, you realize that yeah, I'm actually this kind of person. And I think the last thing on that journey would be accruing principles and living by them.
Accruing principle.
Principles and living by them.
Uh-huh.
Because we change a lot scientifically. People do change. Like you're not the same person you were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You're not the same person you were even yesterday. You're not the same person you are,
Yeah.
right? You come to light with new information, and you meet someone who says something, and probably that changes your way of thinking. And that is how it should be. You should be willing to grow. You should be willing to like listen to different perspectives and analyze them. So you're not just closed-minded, because then that way you cannot grow. And so you could set out to have principles that govern your life. So it could be reliability, for example, and timeliness. So, and you live by these principles so that it also governs how you connect with other people. You will naturally connect very well to people who have the same principles as you do. And then at the end of the day, the importance of having principles is that it's not about loyalty to a specific someone. So, like loyalty to Martin because he's Martin. You are loyal to Martin without even knowing it, because Martin embodies the same principles that you do. And if it so happens that Martin changes and doesn't embody the same principles, then you're not stuck at, but I have to be loyal to Martin, because you realize like what actually makes the connections between you. And of course, principles are constantly growing. So you look at people who are maybe somewhere you want to be in life, or people you look up to, and then you look at the principles they embody and you try to incorporate that in your life too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is that is dope. And also, like, back to, you've mentioned something which I feel like it's kind of related to our shadow selves also.
Yeah.
And you've said like maybe getting feedback from people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think what is another way maybe we can integrate our shadow selves? Like, just because they are personally, there are those things like, I would say maybe shooting this video is what maybe made me to come, like made me aware
Yeah.
of some traits about myself. But there are those things behind the video that I can't, like, people know about it, or that maybe I might misinterpret it, like
Yeah.
there is something about me. Now how can I integrate that? How? Because that is also part of self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to start with saying feedback is the breakfast of champions. So if you're someone who can naturally take feedback well and act on it, then it can be good for you. And feedback could be both good and bad.
Bad.
Now, instead of calling it bad, I like to look at it as areas that you can improve on. So for your shadow self, I think it's very important to first realize that take responsibility and accountability for your actions, even though they might not like please you or please the people around you. You first of all have to accept that, I did this and this was my part in it and this was my role in it. And then after realizing that, it doesn't mean you should now start beating yourself up or like trying to hide it. The next step, the next logical step would be to extend yourself grace. See, you have friends and you have friends who you interact with on a daily, right? And sometimes they do things that don't necessarily make you happy, but you are in a position to extend that grace to them and, even allow them to apologize for it. And it's like, sometimes they don't even have to apologize for it. It's just like, that's okay because she's my friend. So if you're doing self introspection, you have to be at a position where you can extend the same grace to yourself, because sometimes it is you being kind with yourself that can actually help you to improve whatever it is that you feel like is a bad trait. Yeah. So for me, it's more about awareness. And then after you are aware, you extend grace to yourself and realize that, this is something that is happening, but it's definitely something I can change if I want to. So it's not about this is who I am and that's it. Yeah. You can't have that mentality and grow.
And grow, yeah.
So it comes to light and you actually take responsibility for it, and then you extend grace for yourself, because that is how now you can move away from it, or just forward and grow. Yeah. And then now that you know what you're working against or you're trying to tame, then it's easier for you to intentionally work towards that. So, and then you can notice also triggers that make you act whichever way. And if you are keenly, like if you're very present and you're keen to notice that, then it's easier for you to remember, oh, this is a trigger, this is the one that makes me go crazy. So instead of choosing to act crazy, you choose to act the opposite of crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like how
I
it
hope
like
that answers the question.
yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It really does. What I've like self-compassion is what
Yeah.
I've really gotten out of it, and that is where many people miss a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes including me, like we normally beat ourselves.
Yeah, a
And
lot.
yeah, and these are things we will forgive other people. Yeah, these are like sometimes we choose to be patient
With other people and
but
not
we don't
ourselves.
not ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
sad. It's also something I have been working on.
Working on.
Yeah.
Okay. So like personally, when it comes to self-care, especially to our brain, I've seen you've mentioned some things, and like the profound one, it's maybe reading books,
Yeah.
self-help books. And I don't know, like where I am at the moment, I used to value it, and I really miss those moments where
Yeah.
I will read a whole book maybe in a week and I will be fully immersed in it. But now I really find it hard. Even just reading a chapter a day, I really find hard. And I know why, because kuna a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
I'm the person who have the phone there, you know, kuna a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to do that in this world of distractions?
I think routine and discipline. Yeah. Routine is very important because your brain or your mind is naturally just wired to follow a specific routine. And it could be hard to break out of not having a routine, and I'll start having a routine. But once you have a routine that like you goes by, then it definitely makes everything easier. And part of having a routine is a lot of scheduling. I schedule a lot of things, yeah. And I think to some extent that is what really helps me, because now if I look at my schedule and so a certain amount of time I'm supposed to be doing this, and then this is now my free time, I can do with whatever I want. Now it's easier for me to, and if you do it frequently, research says like 3 weeks, then kind of just sticks, and then now you just want to. And it's hard to follow the routine. Sometimes it's hard even for me, but it's also just a constant, it's you constantly choosing to break out of not following your routine and start to follow it. And if you find that a certain routine doesn't work for you, you can always tweak a few things or even change the whole thing. So it's not about like it being constant and the only definitive for life, but you have to also be open to adjustments. And then number 2 is discipline, and I define discipline as doing stuff even when you don't feel like it, even though you'd
stuff.
rather be sleeping, right?
Yeah.
You'd rather be sleeping. But see, this is the same discipline that you employ in your work, for example, or if you're a student in classwork, like you don't feel like doing the assignment, but you have to do it. Yeah. And so sometimes I like to look at it from the point of, I really don't feel like reading this book, and it's probably telling me too much truth that I want to know. Call it the
Or
burden of
sometimes
knowledge.
you do feel like that. Or-
You had no business being that truthful and telling me about myself like that, especially when it comes to now looking at your shadow self, right? But then you realize that it is the discipline that you put in your schoolwork, for example, that makes you do well in school and in exams. So if you could employ the same and do the same work and be just as intentional about improving yourself and becoming the better version of you, then it will pay off. And sometimes when I just can't totally, just like my future self will thank me. So I'll do it right now. Yeah, but I do agree it's hard. And another lesson I picked up at Kamilimu, again about scheduling, is like the activities in our lives can always be categorized in order of urgency and importance. So for the activities that are very urgent and very important, you do them right away. For activities that are urgent but not as important, you can delegate and have someone do it. For activities that are not urgent and not important, you eliminate them completely. And sad, but social media is the best example for that. Yeah. And the activities that are important but not urgent, those you can do later. So I feel like everything we have to do on a daily can be categorized in those, and then it can just also help you in matters planning yourself. Yeah. But I think phone addiction is something very serious, and it's something we can break out of, but again with routine. So for me, I try when I'm working. I don't like using my phone that much as compared to other people. I know.
Yeah.
But I try so hard that when I'm working, it's just away from me and I have what I need. Some people would go as far as putting it in another room or locking it up in a drawer, but anything you need to get yourself in that. And then you can actually have time to now go through your phone. Yeah.
Iko kwa wingi.
It's really good. Can you tell me the other ingredients?
I will tell you when you are done with
Is
it.
it Sim Sim?
Sim not really. Now you are wrong. Now that is guesswork.
Very wrong.
Iko kwa wingi.
Bananas,
So,
milk, because I can see the white stuff. Maybe I will crack it.
okay,
Yeah.
ready?
I'm ready.
Also, like my another question is, if you are still to consuming knowledge,
Yeah.
if you were to rate reading books, hard copy,
Yeah.
or no, I chat you reading books. It can be hard or soft copy, audiobooks, and watching maybe a documentary. If you were to rate them,
Okay.
which one will you most consider, then least consider?
Most consider reading books.
Reading books.
Yeah, least consider documentaries.
Document.
Unless they're really very well done.
Okay.
No offense though, but most of them tend to be they tend to be boring. Because you'll be listening and someone is just being facts. And in my experience, people are more likely to listen to you or care about what you're saying if you use a story, if you read all the facts within a story. So then that's the same way, that's why people enjoy watching movies, because there's always like a story with it. And at the end of it, there's like a moral lesson, right? The same with just stories that we used to be told even around campfires. Yeah. They have a story to it, and at the end of the day, there's a moral lesson. So it's easier for me to understand when it's in form of a story more than just facts and telling me this is how it is, this is how it is. On reading, I prefer reading to audiobooks because I feel like I get that time to. Usually when you read, it's like you're reading in your voice, in your head.
Yeah.
And it also gives you the opportunity to like highlight certain areas and come back to it, and you'd stop for a minute and think, this is actually very true. Yeah. So I feel like that's why I prefer reading. I do enjoy listening to audiobooks, but podcasts more, because now podcasts it's more conversational, almost never monotone, and then it just keeps your attention going for longer. I tend to feel like audiobooks really sometimes lull me to sleep.
Yeah, same here. Okay.
Like you've been listening and then you fall asleep. But they're good because they're time saving. You can listen to them on the road as you move somewhere, as you do other things when you can't necessarily like sit down and read. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you, if maybe you're very attentive, you can like kuna those books unapata there are 300 pages, but for an audiobook imekuwa compressed to like an hour.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can finish a book in an hour if maybe lucky you are very attentive.
Yeah, and then you have to have like very good listening skills.
Yeah, but that is a skill on its own developing somehow, right? Now there are disadvantages part is like, as you've mentioned, like for the books you get time to highlight, or sometimes even to think through it. Sometimes just to go, like I feel like it gives you a room, maybe if you meet a new word, you can go and check the meaning.
I like doing
and also resonating it. But for the audiobooks, it's like 20.
Exactly.
No breaks.
Not your own pace, unless you want to reduce the playback speed. Kind of ghetto.
Okay. Yeah. That is well put. Okay, another question. If you could go back in time and tell a younger version of yourself one thing, what will you tell them?
Ooh, that's a lovely one. So I'm going to give like a background and context first of all. I'm the firstborn daughter. So, and my mom is, I shouldn't call her an overachiever, but she is sort of. So, my mom has a PhD in microbiology. And just by those mere standards, even without going into other things, I always felt like I had so much to, like, I had to fill up her shoes. So, I have so much to do, so much to accomplish. So, I be like her or even better. And by so doing, and also being a firstborn, now I always feel the need to be in control most of the time. So I'd be like, no, I want this to happen this way. And if it's not going to happen that way, then it's ruined. And it's something I'm also really trying very hard to work through. And after being cognizant of it and being in situations where I was not utterly in any form of control and things still worked out fine and even better for me, I realized that that is one thing I really have to embrace. So the one thing I'll tell my younger self is that things don't always go your way. Hell, they probably never will. But they turn out better than you expected if you could just let go of some of the control. Do whatever is in your control and then leave the rest to whoever, God, the universe. Like, just let what is not in your control be out of your control and you do what you can do and then just watch it turn out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah,
I feel like I'd be a more relaxed teenager,
Teenager,
especially.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is,
Mhm.
yeah, let that sink, man. Let that sink. Yeah, yeah,
Totally.
that is dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. What does it mean to live a good life?
We did
We did
answer
that.
that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What obstacles and limitations are preventing our generation from reaching our full potential as a collective?
You're a Gen Z, right?
Yeah, I'm a Gen Z. No, I am a millennial.
You're a
I am a
millennial.
Gen Z. People are convinced out there.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
You don't want to destroy that image. So I feel like Gen Z is a really interesting generation, and I'm so happy that I am part of it. And part of our strength is how much attention we pay to our mental health, because you're only as good as like in what you do or what you're involved with as you are up here. So you could be going through a lot and still struggling to do work, and then you don't do it well. But when you have a positive outlook towards life and you're being grateful and you're just convinced that everything is going to work out well, then it's even easier for you to be more productive and be more flexible when things happen and to react less to life, especially when bad things happen. So I feel like that is a strength, but it is also a weakness, because now what we have done is we have weaponized mental health, our mental well-being and mental health awareness, to protect sometimes our laziness, sometimes our procrastination. And in as much as I am a believer in working hard and I mean working smart, I still feel like working hard is definitely the way to go. And I underwent some training on entrepreneurship, and we were told something about mastering the 10x rule. Like, even
About
if 10x rule, yeah.
okay.
So it's me and you, right? We don't know how to skip rope, the both of us. But I practice 100 times and you practice like twice. I'll definitely be better. I'll be better than you. So the 10x rule is just to remind us that at the end of the day, you still have to work hard if you want to be really good at what you're doing. So it could be in the amount of hours you put in, it could be in how you absorb information, but you will definitely do better if you do it 100 times more, or rather 10 times more than someone else. And if you read the book Grades, it comes out that sometimes the effort you, not even sometimes, effort can surpass talent. Like, you could be naturally talented in sport, for example, but I put in more effort and do it 100 times more than you do, I'll be better, or even I'll match up or even be better than you. So now, this is where weaponizing mental health or mental health awareness does not work for us, because now we get the excuse that if anything, literally disturbs your comfort, even
Or
like
your
this,
peace.
your peace, I'm not gonna let that disturb. You're gone. You're out of that situation. And now it becomes important, and that is how now our laziness comes in. Because then if you are, there's no life without growth, right? And you constantly have to be in a position that you're self-improving. But the growth can never come in your comfort. You have to be a little bit uncomfortable for you to grow. And this sometimes can present itself in ways like more challenging situations, a situation that you've never been in before, or more challenging tasks at work, or just something new that you have to learn. And you're not going to learn something new that you didn't know at all and still be comfortable and be like, this is amazing. It's definitely going to be hard, right?
Yeah.
It could be simple, but it's not going to be easy. And there's levels to it. So when this happens, now we feel like, no, I cannot do that because my mental health is at stake here, guys. My mental health is at stake. But sometimes it's just your mind stretching and just like telling you, now we were here, we need to get here. And to get here, this amount of work has to be done. And you're not necessarily going to be comfortable with it. It's going to cost you a little bit discomfort. So how about we put, sometimes we need to, of course, there's like extents which are allowed, but sometimes we need to put like our peace and just our comfort a little bit to the side so we can grow and become better. Yeah. But now if we keep saying, if it's just a little bit discomfort and that is what is going to cause you to grow, and we're already like, no, it's disturbing my mental health, then we can never really move forward. Yeah. And I think that has to be the biggest obstacle.
I kind of feel like you've really challenged me.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, man, wow, you in these terms, like when I was starting this,
Yeah.
like I was just looking it from one aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the aspect that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
But still, I have other things going on,
Yeah.
and sometimes I really like. Now this is the confusing part. When I
Right.
was starting this, like I came to really understand how life is more physical, more mental and spiritual, and less physical than it is
That's
physical.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that aspect, I came to notice sometimes we just don't have to rely on do, have, then be.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have to be something, be rich before the world. You prove it to the world.
Exactly.
You have to be something.
Yeah.
Then with the aspect of being something, I feel like it brings the aspect of believing.
Yeah.
Then you believing, now you can do something.
Yeah.
Tuko fiti? Nakukumbuka. Yeah, ndakushtua.
Yeah.
Sasa, thanks. Okay, so I was saying
Being and believing. Go on,
what
you
a
got
distraction.
this.
Yeah. But it was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying, like, yeah, there is that aspect of like, yeah, like coming to understand what mental really is.
Yeah.
We really have to be something.
Yeah.
You need to be happy before you do something, then have something.
Yeah.
It has been the way where we are coming from now, millennials maybe, kurudi nyuma.
Yeah.
It has always been doing something,
Yeah.
then have money maybe, then you'll be happy.
Ah.
Yeah, so unapata with that now people do something,
Yeah.
now they have money and they are surprised.
Yeah.
Like now, I'm not happy, now it's problem
No, what's
after problem.
happening? Yeah.
Like we really have to understand that we've been solving problems
Yeah.
and we will be solving problems, and that is what makes life.
Yeah.
So you have to be, don't solve problems to be something, you have to be something first. So with that aspect, now like I feel like now I decided to protect my mental, because I felt like now what is in here, it's what kind of materialize many things in life. So for me to be able to be this type of a person, or for me to be able to have even an effective day, I really have to be very dope here upstairs. So that is why now that is the first aspect.
Yeah.
But now kuna other things also, same like art.
Yeah.
For art, yeah, you have to believe it. Yani, kuna now that aspect of hard work, kuna that aspect of consistency, kuna that aspect of now making it more physical than mental. Like you have to put it out, you have to materialize it, you have to execute it. Like, yes, you have a lot of ideas in there, but you really have to execute it, even when you believe in it or when you don't. Sometimes, like, you just have to be, like, for the art world, you just have to be curious. So for you to be curious, you have to put things out there. Like, just be curious. Don't expect anything. Like, I will decide to capture this moment in a canvas,
Yeah.
but I don't have to expect anything. When I
Yeah.
do that, I won't finish even the work because kutakuwa na no,
Like,
idiot.
let me try
Yeah.
this and this. Yeah.
But when you're curious, like, okay, how about we put now a dolphin here? You know,
Yeah.
when you do those things, unapata, it turns out to something else,
Yeah.
and it goes back to that aspect of just doing something, doing something, like doing something until it turns out the way, not the way you want, but until it turns out to something else.
Yeah.
So like, imekuwa confusing, but you mentioning that,
Yeah.
sometimes I do find myself falling back to like believing that, yeah, which is right, life is more mental than physical, it is, but sometimes I become lazy.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to do something, but I feel like, no,
I'm
let me just
tired.
rest, I'm
Not
tired.
today.
It's not about doing it, it's about something
So long
else.
as it's up here.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And
I
then now,
totally get that.
no
argument.
results.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after you've mentioned that, and the main reason I said, I'm saying you have challenged me, that you really have to understand now what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are those things which need results? And for those results, you need to put in more work.
Yeah.
For many things to be out there, they really need to be put out there.
Yeah.
Now we don't need people to save us. Now I don't have to focus with that. Someone else might be watching. Now I have to put in the work.
True.
And like, if that someone else watches or don't watch it, I need to believe in it. And I
It's
feel
good
like,
either way.
yeah.
Yeah, that is really true. And I think I agree with you on that scale, that it is good for our dreams to be big and to scare us. And it definitely starts from there, right?
Yeah.
By the end of the day, if you just think it and leave it up there,
Yeah.
it's not going to come to fruition. So you also have to actually work. So it's kind of a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one is mutually exclusive from the other. In fact, when they now work together, it becomes something entirely beautiful. Yeah. So I think that we should also look at that aspect a little bit more, in as much as we are pro mental health and we are focusing to make sure we're right upstairs before anything else. We also have to be uncomfortable. We have to do the work. Yeah.
A handshake for that. Yeah, that is well put. Wherever you
Thank
are with
you.
your audience out there, please take a handshake for that. Because, yeah, or just comment something. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But that is, wow, very insightful.
Yeah.
Okay.